Daddy? That's my work surface here.
Hi, ladies.
Hi.
Well, I'll just tell you, ladies, that I got a call today from Lake Park, and they're going to be having a care meeting next Wednesday to decide when she's going to go home. And I'm going to try to attend.
Great.
I attended the last one, and Linda Bonta is arranging the home care. And for a while, she'll have 24-hour daycare, but I truly think she could cut back after a while. You know,
Well, I talked to her on the phone the other day. She seemed very clear.
Yeah. Well, we saw her on Monday and she was quite clear. Yeah.
yeah, she was really good. So hopefully,
Yes.
I've spoken to her a couple times since then. So, yeah,
Well,
she
I think that's
continues to be totally appropriate and focused, you know, so that's great.
maybe, yeah, maybe some of the confusion before was from COVID, you know, when she
Yeah,
was,
that's what I'm thinking. She was really sick, so I think that it just took her a while to get over it, you know.
I'm sorry, Timothy scared me. Just then, all right, sit down, sit down. Good boy.
Bella, don't look at me.
Oh, we heard that.
She's already eaten too. What's there? Quiet, Bella. Well, she had 5 teeth extracted yesterday,
Uh-oh.
but she's doing pretty well. She's like, I mean, you hear her barking. So
Yeah, Timothy has bad teeth too, but so far he doesn't have any trouble eating. So I'm hoping they won't have to do any dental work. It's so expensive.
I know,
Terrible.
$2,000,
Oh,
5 teeth.
it's awful. Okay, well, Timmy hasn't had a good dose of Bible reading for a while. He's,
Larry,
hey, Larry. I think we should count Timothy in the number of preachers who hear that.
Yeah, we'll put him in the book. Yeah. Yeah. You know, I had a question. Is this Sunday Holy Communion Sunday or morning prayer Sunday?
Morning prayer.
Morning prayer. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna get a bouquet, Becky,
Okay.
for in honor of my brother who
Okay.
died about a year ago.
Okay.
And so maybe we could put that in the bulletin. Or is it too late?
No,
Which bulletin?
no, it's not. The one.
Oh,
The worship, though, you
Mhm.
know, the one
no.
everybody looks
Just
at.
tell me
when-
what you want me to say. The flowers on the altar are given in memory of. Da, da, da.
Yeah, to the glory of God
Yeah.
and in memory of Francis DiCostanzo.
Okay. Do you mind maybe just texting that or
Be
email
happy
it
to.
me?
I'll
That
do it
is out.
when we're finished.
Okay.
You want me to text it or email you?
Whatever's easiest for you.
Okay, I'll email it because I'll be on the computer, right?
Yeah, that'd be
Right
fine.
when we.
And then, so it'll be a bouquet that we will have to arrange in a vase, or will it be already arranged?
Well, I hope it will be already arranged. I'm gonna go get the flowers Saturday morning.
Okay. All right.
Okay, and I was hoping to put them behind the, you know, the gospel book.
Oh, yes,
Okay.
that would be nice.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, okay. Yeah, that sounds good. That'll-
Okay. I'm not the greatest flower arranger. I've got to tell you guys.
Well, none of us are. We don't have, except for Deb. Maybe Deb Maybe devil perk it up if it doesn't look good.
Okay, just maybe we need somebody just to touch it up a little bit. Yeah.
Larry's bringing a bouquet in honor of his brother for Sunday. So
Oh, how lovely.
Yeah. I'm a teeny bit late, but we
No.
did go away to Utah.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, we had 2 weeks of vacation. Flex plays havoc with
Yeah. Played havoc with everything.
with,
You're right.
with ordinary life.
Yeah. Gosh. Well, here we are. You know
Writing a new
what?
book.
We're starting a new Bible book, and when we finish it, we will have done the Torah, the Pentateuch. It is 34 chapters, Deuteronomy.
Okay.
It's a long book, long-ish, not as long as Genesis. And I thought we should read it all because it's a little bit different from the other books. And there may be some parts that try our patience, but I think it'll still be worth doing. You know what? Yeah. And because it's an introduction to kind of the rest of the historical part of the Bible. It's an introduction to the book of Judges, for example, to the books of Samuel, to Kings, and so forth, and so on. They're all of a piece, it seems to me. Anyway, that's my thinking. Okay, I hope you agree. If you don't agree after tonight, or you have some suggestions, hey, we're all of us together in this. Okay. Great. I thought we'd do Deuteronomy.
We just lost your voice, Larry.
You just muted yourself somehow.
Larry, you're muted.
I wonder how I did that. But anyway, computers are not my real forte. Anyway, 1 to 4 will take us in from some history, which Moses repeats, and will take us into the beginning of his exposition about, how would I call it? I want to say being good, as good Israelites should be. Okay. So anyway, here we go. Deuteronomy chapter 1. These are the words that Moses spoke to all Israel beyond the Jordan, in the wilderness, on the plain opposite Suf, between Paran and Tophel, Laban, Hazeroth, and Dizahab. By the way of Mount Seir, it takes 11 days to reach Kadesh Barnea from Horeb. And you'll see the value of that sentence a little bit further on. In the 40th year, on the first day of the 11th month, Moses spoke to the Israelites, just as the Lord had commanded him to speak to them. This was after he had defeated King Sihon of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon, and King Og of Bashan, who reigned in Ashtaroth and in Edrei, beyond the Jordan, in the land of Moab. Moses undertook to expound this law as follows. The Lord our God spoke to us at Horeb, saying, "You have stayed long enough at this mountain. Resume your journey and go into the hill country of the Amorites, as well as into the neighboring regions, the Araba, the hill country, the Shephelah, the Negev, and the seacoast, the land of the Canaanites, and the Lebanon, as far as the great river, the river Euphrates. See, I have set the land before you. Go in and take possession of the land that I swore to your ancestors, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, to give to them and to their descendants after them. At that time, I said to you, I am unable by myself to bury you. The Lord your God has multiplied you, so that today you are as numerous as the stars of heaven. May the Lord, the God of your ancestors, increase you 1,000 times more and bless you as he has promised you. But how can I bear the heavy burden of your disputes all by myself? Choose for each of your tribes individuals who are wise, discerning, and reputable to be your leaders. You answered me, the plan you have proposed is a good one. So I took the leaders of your tribes, wise and reputable individuals, and installed them as leaders over you, commanders of thousands, commanders of hundreds, commanders of 50s, commanders of 10s, and officials throughout your tribes. I charged your judges at that time, give the members of your community a fair hearing and judge rightly between one person and another, whether citizen or resident alien. You must not be partial in judging. Hear out the small and the great alike. You shall not be intimidated by anyone, for the judgment is God's. Any case that is too hard for you, bring to me, and I will hear it. So I charged you at that time with all the things that you should do. Then, just as the Lord our God had ordered us, we set out from Horeb and went through all that great and terrible wilderness that you saw, on the way to the hill country of the Amorites, until we reached Kadesh Barnea, which is 11 days from Mount Zion. I said to you, you have reached the hill country of the Amorites, which the Lord our God is giving us. See, the Lord your God has given the land to you. Go up, take possession, as the Lord, the God of your ancestors, has promised you. Do not fear or be dismayed. All of you came to me and said, let us send men ahead of us to explore the land for us and bring back a report to us regarding the route by which we should go up and the cities we will come to. The plan seemed good to me, and I selected 12 of you, one from each tribe. They set out and went up into the hill country, and when they reached the valley of Eshcol, they spied it out and gathered some of the land's produce, which they brought down to us. They brought back a report to us and said, it is a good land that the Lord our God is giving us. But you were unwilling to go up. You rebelled against the command of the Lord your God. You grumbled in your tents and said, "It is because the Lord hates us that he has brought us out of the land of Egypt, to hand us over to the Amorites to destroy us." Where are we headed? Our kindred have made our hearts melt by reporting the people there are stronger and taller than we. The cities are large and fortified up to heaven. We actually saw there the offspring of the giant Anakim. I said to you, have no dread or fear of them. The Lord your God who goes before you is the one who will fight for you, just as he did for you in Egypt before your very eyes. And in the wilderness, where you saw how the Lord your God carried you, just as one carries a child, all the way that you traveled until you reached this place. But in spite of this, you have no trust in the Lord your God, who goes before you on the way to seek out a place for you to camp, in fire by night and in the cloud by day, to show you the route you should take. When the Lord heard your words, he was wrathful and swore, "Not one of these, not one of this evil generation shall see the good land that I swore to give to your ancestors, except Caleb, son of Jephunneh. He shall see it, and to him and to his descendants I will give the land on which he set foot, because of his complete fidelity to the Lord." Even with me, the Lord was angry on your account, saying, "You also shall not enter there. Joshua, son of Nun, your assistant, shall enter there. Encourage him, for he is the one who will secure Israel's possession of it. And as for your little ones, whom you thought would become booty, your children, who today do not yet know right from wrong, they shall enter there. To them I will give it, and they shall take possession of it. But as for you, journey back into the wilderness in the direction of the Red Sea." You answered me, "We have sinned against the Lord. We are ready to go up and fight, just as the Lord our God commanded us." So all of you strapped on your battle gear and thought it easy to go up into the hill country. The Lord said to me, "Say to them, do not go up and do not fight, for I am not in the midst of you. Otherwise, you will be defeated by your enemies." Although I told you, you would not listen. You rebelled against the command of the Lord and presumptuously went up into the hill country. The Amorites who lived in that hill country then came out against you and chased you as bees do. They beat you down in Seir as far as Hormah. When you returned and wept before the Lord would neither heed your voice nor pay you any attention. After you had stayed at Kadesh as many days as you did, we journeyed back into the wilderness in the direction of the Red Sea, as the Lord had told me. And we skirted Mount Seir for many days. Then the Lord said to me, "You have been skirting the hill country long enough. Head north and charge the people as follows. You are about to pass through the territory of your kindred, the descendants of Esau, who live in Seir. They will be afraid of you, so be very careful not to engage in battle with them. For I will not give you even so much as a foot's length of their land, since I have given Mount Seir to Esau as a possession. You shall purchase food from them for money, so that you may eat, and you shall also buy water from them for money, so that you may drink. Surely the Lord your God has blessed you in all your undertakings. He knows you're going through this great wilderness. These 40 years, the Lord your God has been with you. You have lacked nothing." So we passed by our kin, the descendants of Esau who live in Seir, leaving behind the root of the Arabah and leaving behind Elath and Ezion Geber. When we had headed out along the route of the wilderness of Moab, the Lord said to me, "Do not harass Moab or engage them in battle, for I will not give you any of its land as a possession, since I have given Ar as a possession to the descendants of Lot." The Emim, a large and numerous people as tall as the giant Anakim, had formerly inhabited it. Like the Anakim, they are usually reckoned as giant Rephaim, though the Moabites call them Emim. Moreover, the Horim had formerly inhabited Seir, but the descendants of Esau dispossessed them, destroying them and settling in their place, as Israel has done in the land that the Lord gave them as a possession. Moses said, "Now then, proceed to cross over the Wadi Zered." So we crossed over the Wadi Zered, and the length of time we had traveled from Kadesh Barnea until we crossed the Wadi Zered was 38 years, until the entire generation of warriors had perished from the camp, as the Lord had sworn concerning them. Indeed, the Lord's own hand was against them to root them out from the camp until all had perished. Just as soon as all the warriors had died off from among the people, the Lord spoke to me, saying, "Today you are going to cross the boundary of Moab at Ar. When you approach the frontier of the Ammonites, do not harass them or engage them in battle, for I will not give the land of the Ammonites to you as a possession, because I have given it to the descendants of Lot." It is also usually reckoned as the land of the giant Rephaim. They formerly inhabited it, though the Ammonites call them Zamzummim, a strong and numerous people, as tall as the giant Anakim. But the Lord destroyed them from before the Ammonites so that they could dispossess them and settle in their place. He did the same for the descendants of Esau, who live in Seir, by destroying the giant Horim before them so that they could dispossess them and settle in their place, even to this day. As for the Avim, who had lived in settlements in the vicinity of Gaza, the Kaphtorim, who came from Kaphtor, destroyed them and settled in their place. Moses related what God had said to him. Proceed on your journey and cross the Wadi Arnon. See, I have handed over to you King Sihon, the Amorite of Heshbon, and his land. Begin to take possession by engaging him in battle. This day, I will begin to put the dread and fear of you upon the peoples everywhere under heaven. When they hear report of you, they will tremble and be in anguish because of you. So I sent messengers from the wilderness of Kedemoth to King Sihon of Heshbon with the following terms of peace. If you let me pass through your land, I will travel only along the road. I will turn aside neither to the right nor to the left. You shall sell me food for money, so that I may eat, and supply me water for money, so that I may drink. Only allow me to pass through on foot, just as the descendants of Esau who live in Seir have done for me, and likewise the Moabites who live in Ar, until I cross the Jordan into the land that the Lord our God is giving us. But King Sihon of Heshbon was not willing to let us pass through, for the Lord your God had hardened his spirit and made his heart defiant in order to hand him over to you, as he has now done. The Lord said to me, see, I have begun to give Sihon and his land over to you. Begin now to take possession of his land. So when Sihon came out against us, he and all his people, for battle at Jahaz, the Lord our God gave him over to us, and we struck him down, along with his offspring and all his people. At that time, we captured all his towns, and in each town we utterly destroyed men, women, and children. We left not a single survivor. Only the livestock we kept as spoil for ourselves, as well as the plunder of the towns that we had captured. From Aroer, on the edge of the Wadi Arnon, including the town that is in the Wadi itself, as far as Gilead, there was no citadel too high for us. The Lord our God gave everything to us. You did not encroach, however, on the land of the Ammonites, avoiding the whole upper region of the Wadi Jabbok, as well as the towns of the hill country, just as the Lord our God had charged. When we headed up the road to Bashan, King Og of Bashan came out against us, he and all his people, for battle at Edrei. The Lord said to me, do not fear him, for I have handed him over to you, along with his people and his land. Do to him as you did to King Sihon of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon. So the Lord our God also handed over to us King Og of Bashan and all his people. We struck him down until not a single survivor was left. At that time, we captured all his towns. There was no citadel that we did not take from them. 60 towns, the whole region of Argob, the kingdom of Og in Bashan. All these were fortress towns with high walls, double gates, and bars, besides a great many villages. And we utterly destroyed them, as we had done to King Sihon of Heshbon, in each city, utterly destroying men, women, and children. But all the livestock and the plunder of the towns we kept as spoil for ourselves. So at that time, we took from the 2 kings of the Amorites the land beyond the Jordan, from the Wadi Arnon to Mount Hermon. The Sidonians call Hermon Sirion, while the Amorites call it Senir. All the towns of the tableland, the whole of Gilead, and all of Bashan, as far as Selica and Edrei, towns of Og's kingdom in Bashan. Now, only King Og of Bashan was left of the remnants of the giant Rephaim. In fact, his bed, an iron bed, can still be seen in Rabbah of the Ammonites. By the common cubit, it is 9 cubits long and 4 cubits wide. As for the land that we took possession of at that time, I gave to the Reubenites and Gadites the territory north of Aroer, that is, on the edge of the Wadi Arnon, as well as half the hill country of Gilead with its towns. And I gave to the half tribe of Manasseh the rest of Gilead and all of Bashan, Og's kingdom, the whole region of Argob. All that portion of Bashan used to be called a land of the Rephaim. Jair, the Manassite, acquired the whole region of Argob as far as the border of the Geshurites and the Maacathites, and he named them, that is, Bashan, after himself, Havoth Jair, as it is to this day. To Machir, I gave Gilead, and to the Reubenites and the Gadites, I gave the territory from Gilead as far as the Wadi Arnon, with the middle of the Wadi as a boundary, and up to the Jabbok, the Wadi being boundary of the Ammonites. The Arabah also, with the Jordan and its banks, from Chinnereth down to the Sea of the Arabah, the Dead Sea, with the lower slopes of Pisgah on the east. At that time, I charged you as follows. Although the Lord your God has given you this land to occupy, all your troops shall cross over armed as the vanguard of your Israelite kin. Only your wives, your children, and your livestock, I know that you have much livestock, shall stay behind in the towns that I have given to you. When the Lord gives rest to your kindred as to you, and they too have occupied the land that the Lord your God is giving them beyond the Jordan, then each of you may return to the property that I have given to you. And I charged Joshua as well at that time, saying, your own eyes have seen everything that the Lord your God has done to these two kings. So the Lord will do to all the kingdoms into which you are about to cross. Do not fear them, for it is the Lord your God who fights for you. At that time, I entreated the Lord, saying, O Lord God, you have only begun to show your servant your greatness and your might. What God in heaven or on earth can perform deeds and mighty acts like yours? Let me cross over to see the good land beyond the Jordan, that good hill country and the Lebanon. But the Lord was angry with me on your account and would not heed me. The Lord said to me, enough from you. Never speak to me of this matter again. Go up to the top of Pisgah and look around you to the west, to the north, to the south, and to the east. Look well, for you shall not cross over this Jordan. But charge Joshua and encourage and strengthen him, because it is he who shall cross over at the head of this people, and who shall secure their possession of the land that you will see. So we remained in the valley opposite Beth Peor. So now, Israel, give heed to the statutes and ordinances that I am teaching you to observe, so that you may live to enter and occupy the land that the Lord, the God of your ancestors, is giving you. You must neither add anything to what I command you, nor take away anything from it, but keep the commandments of the Lord your God with which I am charging you. You have seen for yourselves what the Lord did with regard to the Baal of Peor, how the Lord your God destroyed from among you everyone who followed the Baal of Peor, while those of you who held fast to the Lord your God are all still alive today. See, just as the Lord my God has charged me, I now teach you statutes and ordinances for you to observe in the land that you are about to enter and to occupy. You must observe them diligently, for this will show your wisdom and discernment to the peoples, who, when they hear all these statutes, will say, surely this great nation is a wise and discerning people. For what other great nation has a God so near to it as the Lord our God is whenever we call to him? And what other great nation has statutes and ordinances as just as this entire law that I am setting before you today. But take care and watch yourselves closely, so as neither to forget the things that your eyes have seen, nor to let them slip from your mind all the days of your life. Make them known to your children and your children's children, how you once stood before the Lord your God at Horeb, when the Lord said to me, assemble the people for me, and I will let them hear my words, so that they may learn to fear me as long as they live on the earth, and may teach their children so. You approached and stood at the foot of the mountain, while the mountain was blazing up to the very heavens, shrouded in dark clouds. Then the Lord spoke to you out of the fire. You heard the sound of words, but saw no form. There was only a voice. He declared to you his covenant, which he charged you to observe. That is the 10 Commandments. And he wrote them on 2 stone tablets. And the Lord charged me at that time to teach you statutes and ordinances for you to observe in the land that you are about to cross into and occupy. Since you saw no form when the Lord spoke to you at Horeb out of the fire, take care and watch yourselves closely, so that you do not act corruptly by making an idol for yourselves in the form of any figure, the likeness of male or female, the likeness of any animal that is on the earth, the likeness of any winged bird that flies in the air, the likeness of anything that creeps on the ground, the likeness of any fish that is in the water under the earth. And when you look up to the heavens and see the sun, the moon, and the stars, all the host of heaven, do not be led astray and bow down to them and serve them, things that the Lord your God has allotted to all the peoples everywhere under heaven. But the Lord has taken you and brought you out of the iron smelter, out of Egypt, to become a people of his very own possession, as you are now. The Lord was angry with me because of you, and he vowed that I should not cross the Jordan, and that I should not enter the good land that the Lord your God is giving for your possession. For I am going to die in this land without crossing over the Jordan. But you are going to cross over to take possession of that good land. So be careful not to forget the covenant that the Lord your God made with you, and not to make for yourselves an idol in the form of anything that the Lord your God has forbidden you. For the Lord your God is a devouring fire, a jealous God. When you have had children and children's children, and become complacent in the land, if you act corruptly by making an idol in the form of anything, thus doing what is evil in the sight of the Lord your God, and provoking him to anger, I call heaven and earth to witness against you today that you will soon utterly perish from the land that you are crossing the Jordan to occupy. You will not live long on it, but will be utterly destroyed. The Lord will scatter you among the peoples. Only a few of you will be left among the nations where the Lord will lead you. There you will serve other gods made by human hands, objects of wood and stone that neither see nor hear nor eat nor smell. From there you will seek the Lord your God, and you will find him if you search after him with all your heart and soul. In your distress, when all these things have happened to you in time to come, you will return to the Lord your God and heed him, because the Lord your God is a merciful God. He will neither abandon you nor destroy you. He will not forget the covenant with your ancestors that he swore to them. For ask now about former ages, long before your own. Ever since the day that God created human beings on the earth, ask from one end of heaven to the other, has anything so great as this ever happened? Or has its like ever been heard of? Has any people ever heard the voice of a God speaking out of a fire as you have heard and lived? Or has any God ever attempted to go and take a nation for himself from the midst of another nation by trials, by signs and wonders, by war, by a mighty hand and an outstretched arm, and by terrifying displays of power, as the Lord your God did for you in Egypt before your very own eyes? To you it was shown so that you would acknowledge that the Lord is God. There is no other besides him. From heaven, he made you hear his voice to discipline you. On earth, he showed you his great fire while you heard his words coming out of the fire. And because he loved your ancestors, he chose their descendants after them. He brought you out of Egypt with his own presence by his great power, driving out before you nations greater and mightier than yourselves, to bring you in, giving you their land for a possession as it is still today. So acknowledge today and take to heart that the Lord is God in heaven above and on the earth beneath. There is no other. Keep his statutes and his commandments, which I am commanding you today for your own well-being and that of your descendants after you, so that you may long remain in the land that the Lord your God is giving you for all time. Then Moses set apart on the east side of the Jordan 3 cities to which a homicide could flee, someone who unintentionally kills another person, the two not having been at enmity before. The homicide could flee to one of these cities and live. Bezer in the wilderness on the tableland belonging to the Reubenites, Ramoth in Gilead belonging to the Gadites, and Golan in Bashan belonging to the Manassites. I think I'm going to stop there. Okay. Because the next part is a transition to the middle part of the book of Deuteronomy. And I think we'll do the transition before we do the middle part. Okay. At the same time. And besides, this has turned out to be a lot more than even I expected it was going to be. And
Fascinating, though.
it's interesting, isn't it?
Yes.
And I looked up those places, you know, like the Wadi Zahed and stuff like that. And, you know, they're places that people still try to figure out, because there are, in fact, you know, Wadi is a water course. It can be dry or it can be full. And they're boundaries. And they are water courses that cross in this story that we read today, that cross the land to the east of the Jordan. And it's how Moab is bounded from the other places like Bashan, like the Wadi Arnon separates Moab, I believe, from Bashan. And remember, Moab is not touched, even though later on, the Israelites have a lot of trouble with Moab. But, you know, there's a really famous person who comes from Moab and is a Moabite. And we know who that is. She shows up a couple of books from now. Ruth is a Moabite. Yeah, she's a Moabite woman. And she plays a big role in what some people call, you know, salvation history, which is, I don't know, I guess that's kind of an old-fashioned term for who's going to be the great grandmother of Jesus. Okay, so it turns out to be Ruth. Anyway, I don't know. I find Deuteronomy very interesting. And anyway, that's me. Even the language is a little bit different from, say, Numbers and other stuff.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Well, some of the name. Well, it's interesting that, you know, the land that was left to Esau and his descendants. That was.
Yeah.
And then Golan is a name in modern day Israel. The Golan.
Yeah,
Heights.
the Golan Heights. Yeah. And Mount Hermon is way up in the north near Syria. And anyway, the Mount Seir are the mountains south of the Dead Sea. Anyway, I looked all
Gaza
this
is
up.
still Gaza.
Gaza is still Gaza, it would seem.
We should have maps of all this stuff to look at.
Yeah, I wish we did. I
think this Bible that Timothy's sleeping on probably has.
Yeah, some Bibles do have that in the front.
My what do you call it? The Jerusalem Bible has a lot of maps.
We should look in John's study. There's a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I wish I could. Maybe I could like reproduce some of the maps.
That's enough.
But and send it to you. But you know, I don't know if it's that important. You know,
no, it's just interesting.
Yeah, it's just interesting. Yeah.
I wouldn't remember it even if I looked at it.
Yeah. You sort of want to know that they're sort of creeping up the east side of the Jordan. You know, what is what the story is about. And
so they're crossing from the west to the east, or from the east to the west?
They're crossing from, well, as far as I can figure it out, there's this place called Kadesh Barnea, okay, which is 11 days from the Red Sea, kind of.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, and they go up from there, I think, through the land that Esau was given to Esau. which is the mountains south of the Dead Sea. So I think they're swiveling to the east and north. That's as far as I can tell. And then they keep going north till they encounter King Sion and King Og and Balaam the prophet, and so forth, with his talking donkey.
Sounds like there must have been little wars going on all the time.
All the time. I'm sure these people were smacking each other.
Yeah.
Weekly, if not daily. Right. Anyway, that was a little long. I'm gonna try to be a little more modest in the chunks. It was only 4 chapters, but they were big ones.
Yeah.
So I'll try to make them shorter.
All right. Yeah.
When you're prepping, you don't read it aloud.
Yeah, so you don't see.
And then it doesn't seem as long. But anyway, it'll work out.
Oh,
And
do you all see my Kamala t-shirt?
oh, whoa. What does it say? What does it say?
Well, underneath it says leaders go to Thousand Oaks School.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Christine's daughter was it? It's over. My stepchildren went to Thousand Oaks. Anyway, they had a fundraiser when she was AG, and they made t-shirts. So Christine gave me this one, but she bought a whole bunch.
Oh, okay.
So
Very nice.
I like it because it's
Okay.
It's a nice t-shirt.
I guess well, now I don't want to talk about politics.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a nice
Great.
t-shirt.
It's a nice.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Margaret, you and Peter going to Yosemite this weekend, is that right?
Yeah, Sunday.
So I won't see you. You're not coming to church.
Probably not.
Yeah, I took you off. I mean,
It would take planning that unprecedented for us to be ready to go
Yeah.
right after church.
have a good time. I'm sure you will.
Yeah, and be safe,
Okay.
It's nice up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay, guys.
Okay.
Thanks, Larry. Thanks, Becky.
Really lovely. Okay.
So Larry, send me
Night,
that
folks.
sentence you want.
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
print-
I'll send it
I
to
don't
you
print the
right
bulletin
now.
until Friday morning, but still.
Okay, I'll send it to you right
I
now.
need to fit it in somewhere so it doesn't.
Yeah, and I'll try to remember to buy the flowers.
Well, yeah. I
Good
mean,
point.
well, I could always go outside and pick a few. of
Pick
them.
something. Yeah.
No, it's
Okay.
fine. Okay.
Thanks, Becky.
Yeah.
Okay. Night.
Okay, good night.